Welcome back to the USRR. I am Premier Rever, and I am looking down at my little tiny hamlet that we are trying to build into our great future nation. Turn on our HUD here so we can see what's going on. In the neighborhood of about a month has passed since our last. I've just sat here in slow mode, very much micromanaging, and I wanted to show you my micromanaging is not without its reasons. I know a lot of people think it's just kind of a waste, but let's take a look at our projects that we have going. I'm not saying that you should spend all your time doing what I do, but I enjoy it because I sit there and watch YouTube videos or whatever else on the internet, and then I sit here and click these things. So if you look, what we have is we have this fire station that's in the later stage of construction where they're using mostly the flatbeds, right? I still have a flatbed sitting there because there's only one thing. So I try to get it to where I'll look at the technical university, which is second on the list, and say, okay, they've delivered all their concrete and asphalt. Now they're going to need a bunch more concrete for the second stages or third stages, whatever it is. But at least they've got all the ground stuff, so I know I don't need those dump trucks. Like, there's going to be no more dump trucks going here, just cement mixers and flatbeds. And then if we look at the concrete monument, which is something I assigned new, I can't open it that way. Let's click on it here. Right, they've gotten all their stuff, period. So they just need people, so I don't even have to worry about that anymore. So that's why I have been telling them to go and do things like this footpath, right? Because otherwise what happens is now we just have dump trucks sitting in there. So you say, well, you want to keep completing other projects. Absolutely. So now that we know the dump trucks are sitting around, what I want to do is let's go ahead and I think this is the hospital, I hope. I'm assuming that. Yep, it looks like a hospital. So there we go. So I'll get them on the hospital, and that means that they will be going out with the gravel and the concrete, or basically the concrete, the gravel, and the asphalt, meaning the dump trucks. Now, obviously, we have a little bit of conflict, but they're not ready for any more concrete here. So I know that things are flowing, and then now we've got everything we need for the firehouse, which is one of the reasons that we came back. It's because that was just a line in the sand that I had drawn. Like, all right, we'll come back at that point. Why not, right? So let's see when that gets finished here. We'll buy another truck. Let's just set that off to the side. So what are we going to do today? What I plan on doing is building our farm, but also just sort of continuing with the layout and the concept. I want to keep us moving into this direction very much. I want to get this road graveled for two reasons. One, it's kind of against my rules to, sit there and use the dirt roads. I think they're, again, a little too cheap. I wish they would at least cost you labor, if nothing else. And probably I don't know, you could argue that they should cost wood and other things. So I want to get that done. So let's go ahead real quick and, yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt to do this road and that one, right? So we can assign them, just as a small assignment to do those two roads, because I can actually get to them. Oops. They can go around that way, right? All right, so that's going to cost us a little bit of money, but again, in the long run, oops, didn't necessarily mean to close that one. Did we get the firehouse? Yes, very good. So now let's go ahead and purchase a vehicle. And it's really a choice between these two. This one holds 4. This one holds 10. I'd like to get this one, even though it's a little bit more expensive, a lot more expensive. It's not that expensive as vehicles go. And then I usually will tune this down to 5 to get started. And I find that for these smaller buildings, that's fine. And we don't want to use up too many people. That's 15 more people, right? If you consider 3 shifts, if we had full employment. Now, this is one of the reasons we leave one of these houses where they're not assigned anything. So hopefully some of them will get to go to here. We'll see. Yep, there we go. We got a couple of them in there now. Building temperature is too low. Yeah, there's not too much I can do about that. I mean, it's on our list. I want to get the hospital done just because it's still May. I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to get the heating plant done before that. So if we can get this hospital going. Now when I talk about my micromanaging, once we get this phase done, I may or may not choose to continue. One thing you have to keep in mind is if you cancel these projects out of your construction office, you know, if you cancel one of these, if they're hauling stuff to it at that moment, you just lose the stuff that they're hauling. So I usually try to look at each one of these projects in their own phase, right? As I just was. So I wouldn't really want to stop this for fear that we would lose some gravel. Now I could come in here and say, okay, well, where's my 2 dump trucks, right? Pause it even. But see, there's a dump truck coming up with some more gravel down the back road, the alternate route here, right? And he's bringing gravel out to the hospital, I'm sure. So, and we don't have too much more that we need, but then we might consider canceling it after that, especially if you're like sucking away too many people or going to the hospital. You know, you get too many of these projects going and then you get nothing done. So that is a thing. So there we go. So we got a little bit more planned. I guess we got a little bit of a conflict with our gravel here. And the problem when I say a conflict, what will happen is this guy will go to the road instead of bringing more gravel out to here. Right, now we could take a look. Now he doesn't have any gravel in him, right? He's still heading to the thing. So what I might want to do, just because I didn't realize that, we got another gravel truck heading out there already. It's not going to take them too long, and it's not, are we making that big a difference? Well, no, but it comes down to like keeping an eye on here and trying to keep these trucks as busy as you can, right? We got concrete trucks sitting there, but I know very shortly here we're going to need them, right? Well, it's going to take a while with the number of workers we have, but yeah, at the same time, I know we're going to have plenty of use for the concrete trucks, to the point where at times you're really going to want a 3rd concrete truck to get all that stuff done, which is why, one of the reasons I put this guy on ASAP, because just hauling 327 concrete is going to be quite the task for us with just 2 mixers. Which leads me to another thought, which is, where do we, one thought to the next one, right? No pauses here. So there we go. We got that little thing. We're out there working on it. See that? We got our vehicles. It's not hurting anybody else. That's another little micromanaging tip, is I wait to see that this backhoe is actually working on a building. I don't know if you guys can see him in there. He's a little blended in with the building shadow. But if we come up here and we look, he's in there working. Well, now I know any of these roads that I assign, the only other vehicle I have left is this dumper. Now, the other thing we probably want to do is turn down the people to 0, now that I think about it, so that we don't end up bussing people out there. We just want this, hopefully we can force this guy to work on it. Now, the easier way to do all that is to get a road construction thing. And I'm pretty sure we could go and construct across over here. So we could start talking about that. Is that... Yeah, I think that's pretty fair for where we're going. You can't construct too far away because they have to be able to bus people, but they're only busing them from town. Yeah, let's go ahead and maybe we're going to start. I don't know if that makes any sense. Let's do it from this way. Yeah, I could see that we're going to want to have a road that goes all the way over. For those of you, go back and watch the first episode if you don't mind, if you haven't. But when we take a look at where our iron ore is, I'm thinking we're going to want a road all the way across to that iron ore, kind of ASAP, right? Not, I mean, we can get by without it, but getting our own source of steel before we start building railroads or in that time frame really is almost necessary. I'm thinking that we can just do a road straight out past there. Does that look pretty reasonable? And then let's go ahead and we're just going to do this one as well. All right, I'm going to let's get rid of all of that for now. Get rid of this. Just so we can do one. So can I curve you? No, I don't know. Does that look horrible? No, probably not. I don't know. Let's go ahead and do that, right? There we go. So now we have a gravel road that's just 2 construction projects. This was just my marker for where the pollution can't be, right? So we're going to have to, within the bounds of reason there, that's just the marker. There, so what we're going to do as well is kind of preserve. I thought about this when it comes to all of this. Should we preserve this a little bit better as far as if we were going to come across here with more roads and stuff? I'm thinking swinging it a little bit wider could make some sense now that I think about it more. Right? Oops, what happened there? Let's get rid of that road. Let's get rid of this. All right, and I just want to swing this a little bit different where we preserve a little bit more. All right, we would swing it a little bit further out that way. That's not really do it from right here and then. It doesn't seem like much, but that means we could get like another rail or whatever kind of bridge in here. Oops, yeah, you're not going to like that, are you? And another question is, should we build a better bridge? I think we'll go with the wood for now, especially because you'll see part of my plan is... All right, that did another thing for us too, I think. Oops, let's... I'll even cut that back in a little bit. Not a huge deal, but we're a little bit further away from this, right? Which means we'll have a little bit more room to do whatever, because I want to do coal and stone when we get up here. So that's one of the reasons this is the first road I'm thinking about. And then I don't want to attach this guy, but we will go ahead and put like a gas station. Maybe put another road. I'm just going to do this. I don't like to get too close to the rivers. This will be fine. We'll do like another road here, which I'll end up redoing. Construction office. You know what we could do? We could do better. Because by the time we get to building this, we're going to be past our... Well, I don't know. Do we need to keep vanilla? Isn't this the one? No, this is 4 parking spots, 32... Now that's the one with the cover on it that I don't like. I need to get rid of that one. This one is just a little tiny guy. Yeah, these are all little. Must be this one. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, but I thought I had one that had 20. Did that one go away somehow? I thought I had one that had 20 that didn't have the roof on it. Yeah, that's 32 spots. Okay, well. Do we do a regular construction office? Or do we do this massive one? This massive one does make some sense because this will be a pretty built up area. I mean, we're going to need another town over here, right? Because we're going to need people and all that other stuff. So yeah, maybe we do... Oh, wait, this is it. Oh, this is the regular. I see. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go ahead and put this guy in right here. Give it a little bit more room for the road. And then every time I plop down one of those, I may go try to find where I feel like I'm missing something there. All right. And we'll do just a regular gas station. Leave it plenty of room for the run-in. Nice long driveways on your gas station don't hurt in case you ever have a backup there. There we go. Just want to check something. No, we're not on auto purchase. I want to make sure we're not generally. So there we go. So that's kind of all I wanted to do there. Like just to kind of lay that out with you guys. Well, and I'll start building towards that. So you'll see that'll be our first goal. And then we need to talk about how far away and where we can build this, but that's sort of secondary. I think we can get this done faster. Let's go ahead and take a look at our constructions. Source of workers is empty. Well, we're still plugging along. Is there anything that makes sense? You know, we're not working on the hospital, even though we have all this stuff there, which I kind of like, because that means we're focusing on one thing and getting it done. Or maybe not one thing, but here we go. We got our roads already going. See that? So let's go over here. We're not going to be exporting anything, so this is a good time to bite the bullet on this. Generally speaking, if you want to, when you come out of these things, try not to mess up where you would have your railroad tracks come out. Like, you don't have to come out as straight as I did, but like, try not to just have your road cut over right in front of the railroad tracks. It means you end up having to redo your road, like, guaranteed. You still might have to redo it if you want to, you know, go the right or wrong direction, but at least it gives you a chance of not having to redo it. So there we go. So we have this all potentially assignable. We're still working on this piece, which is good. So we'll keep, I usually like to keep these open, and that way I can keep a close eye on them even when we wander off. Now, how are our people doing? Let's take a look at population statistics. Oh, look, we're up to 156. So it's very important for us to try to keep this happiness up. So I think the next building after we get done this hospital is going to be the cinema. We'll try to get that one done. And then we need to keep an eye. It's only still May. If I have to cancel working on this because it's just such a huge project, we will. As we start getting into like July or even the end of June, I'm going to consider slowing down working on this one to get the other things done. In particular, the heating plant and the technical services. They need to get done pretty much ASAP. So anyway, so how are we doing? Well, our happiness was up higher at one point. Let's do all time since we... All right, see how it's trailed back off a little bit? We've had 2 escapes. So there's something that's making people... Might have been the heat. You know, they're very sensitive to that. And did I show you guys the settings? I hope this isn't a repeat, but the unsatisfied is on hard. Everything is on hard mode. The hard start with money, except I shifted the day cycle to always, and I put the fires on normal. So I think I may not have shown that, but at least you guys can see it is on hard with those 2 exceptions, and we'll leave it there. I mean, I don't intend to change that. So this will be pretty difficult. And again, now that we have a fire station and it's fully functioning, to me, in some ways, the fires are just an annoyance. Now, we may run into a situation where, yeah, you have a lot of fires, and that's... But to me, it just gets to be too much. Hey, there was a fire. Hey, there was a fire. That kind of thing. And I don't even pay attention because I know everything's covered, you know? So, in any event, we are moving forward. But yeah, we may cancel this, but let's go on with our actual work. How are we doing here? Yeah, we're getting there. That's using up a lot of people, but that's great to get our loyalty going, right? I don't want that loyalty to drop down. I noticed when I was playing on my own map, just like that I don't stream or anything, I did see that it was... the loyalty stopped dropping nearly as much. Like right now, if we were to look at our loyalty, it's probably going down. Yeah, see, it's kind of a slight slope down. It's hard to see. We don't have much statistics yet, but it is a bit going down. So I do want to make sure I kind of arrest that as quickly as possible. And that's great that we get that statue going. That way that doesn't become an issue. Now, in keeping with the theme that we're going to have railroad tracks, again, this isn't without its reason, right? Like, I could see a railroad track need right there. We've already got our power lines running up this way, so I'm not sure if we're going to run power lines through here, but I could definitely see train tracks. I want to try to keep at least like this distance in between us and everything else we do. You know, why don't we get real fancy? And how far is that? Just that. Oops. Let's measuring other things earlier. So 140 feet, or meters, I'm sorry, which is a big difference. All right, so if we said like from here, the closest we would, oops, did that thing again. You know, that would be in the ballpark of it. right? Just kind of leave that, maybe a little less. Makes sense. We could have just eyeballed that, I'm sure. But let me use the dirt road as a marker. All right, so whatever we build, we don't want it in this little corridor, you know, more or less right here. So we'll leave us some room to do things there. So, having said that, this mark right here, if you can see that road, is like 400 feet from this intersection. I was thinking about that earlier. Now, the farms themselves don't let out any pollution, and I could see a case for we might want a port around here, but I think that we would be better off over here, right? Even if we did corn and crops and whatever, you know, alcohol and all that stuff, and we ever wanted to put them on a boat, first of all, I don't know that this is going to be that big of an industrial area ever. This is more about getting ourselves some food to get started. But I could definitely see, you know, like more, you know, bricks and the stuff that coal needs over here. So I could definitely tend to think that we would maybe even go on this river with our port, but not necessarily right here. That makes sense. Maybe we'll go onto this river even. You know, we'll see. That's way, way in the future. Ships and all, for me anyway. So, having said that, how much of this do we want to block with farm fields is really what I'm getting at. So let me come up here and get rid of this so it's not in our way. And this is our marker. You know, we don't want to go any closer. So now big fields are always the most efficient. If I click on the right thing here. So I'm going to come up to a big field. Get the opening where I want it. Let's see, can we make that kind of square to life here? Oops. There you go. That's reasonable anyhow. I want to leave a little bit of room behind there. I don't like we get a road or something else back there, but yeah, if we did a big field here. Now I don't know how many of these fields we even need. Well, let's do something else. Let's do 2 fields. We can extend more out. Yeah, that's another question. Can we do... Yeah, we would be cramping it up here. We can always level out a little bit if we needed to. I don't intend this to be the biggest farm setup that you ever saw, but maybe if we could harvest 3 or 4 of these fields. Try to keep my farm a little bit closer than I might normally so that, you know, they're just a little bit closer up here, shorter trips for all this stuff. Now, I did notice that we have a small farm. I don't know how new this is. Is this really super new? Like, I've been playing the last few months, and I don't remember seeing myself having a choice, but I haven't read up on it. I guess I should have. So the small farm, it doesn't really matter what side we do it on, right? If we had a small farm, maybe even with this field, would be, yeah, so the road would be there. Now, this T, no, that doesn't matter to me. So what I don't like about this is that I want to hook up a silo. Well, I guess I should do it this way, yeah. That'll be fine. I can get a road in between. I want to leave this a little bit further off the thing. And then at least, now we talked, you know, everything I'm going to do is going to be vanilla. That was the reason for that little grunt. So I would like to do a bigger silo, but I feel like, you know, I was going to do everything vanilla to get started. I don't know that really, if we feel like that really interferes with my people at all. How's our construction doing? Okay, so we're on the hospital, so we got our Lenin statue going. We got this road almost completed. So we kind of need another... Yeah, this guy's not working on... You know, now he's at the next stage. Now the problem is these two are going to be competing with each other for concrete trucks and whatnot, which is kind of an issue. But having said that, let's just see how it goes. There's a good chance we might turn off that university for the sake of getting these other things done. So hopefully we can get this cinema done. It's only still May, so let's give ourselves a little bit more time. In some ways, the most important building we're working on is that technical university. We need to get our educated people, and I say educated, yeah, high school is educated, but I also mean college educated versus not. So sorry about that. And it certainly don't mean any insult to anyone who's educated to a high school level. That's, I understand you're educated. That's very understandable. So in any event, there we go. Now we could keep working on the roads a little bit, but let's get this little bit of gravel over here first so we can get that going. Again, that's all part of my micromanaging. So the reason I'm wanting to put the farm down before I put in more fields, because I also want to squeeze in this stuff. So I think that we should just do a vanilla thing for the sake of, let's stick with vanilla for those people who might not like mods that much. Yeah, but the only vanilla choice we have is this one, which works out well enough. All right, we'll leave that like this. We can make that pretty darn short. I want a pretty good run-in on this grain thing. Maybe we can leave it back a little bit. All right, so I'm going to put this road in now. Well, you know what? Now let's do the last thing. It's actually a train station, and I just like to put this in here. Cargo station, which can get us crops. So eventually we'll use this to get this out of here, but I just want to make sure we build everything else in a way that we can actually attach this guy. So we're going to have to go over here. I think we can do that. Let's see. What's it saying? Yeah, there we go. All right, so see how that makes it just a little bit wider than you might normally? And that's okay. It really doesn't affect things. All right, so let's go ahead and get... I do like to build... the stone roads here. All right, we'll build that much of that one, and then... zoom out so I can see. We'll make these nice and parallel. Reasonably parallel. All right, I think that's... oh, look at that. Almost lines up with this one. All right, and then do we... yeah, let's take this and... I guess that could all be asphalt, right? Doesn't need to be. Yeah, it's not perfect in any stretch, but nice enough, I think. Yeah, that way we can build those without, like, it can all be one construction project. And again, I'll plan on, as we can ramp things up and as we need more crops and more people, we could put another few fields down this way and continue those roads straight. Now, the only problem with having done that is putting in the other fields over here. So let's let them get this done. But, well, maybe not, right? Because this, oh no, we can not auto attach it. That's right. We do have the technology. All right, oops. Big field. Try to get this guy. No, I don't want that. And then I'll just hit Control, stop it from attaching. I didn't want to auto attach there. Are we getting too close? Is that the problem? Let's see if we can. Yeah, we'll be able to do it. I just didn't want it to attach immediately so we could build those as one big project, right? They'll be a good next project. Well, there we go. So that's a big chunk of it. And then let's do another measurement. See how this will work out, right? So if we said, I don't know that it's going to hurt people at the university to have pollution, but to be on the safe side, right? I don't want to build I had that marker, but it's kind of long gone, right? There's 400. Yeah, 400 is going to more or less be on the other side of this road. Right? So that'll mean we want to build whatever we have that's using crops like over here, but then again, that's our pathway, so we're talking about building them over here, which I don't think is particularly a problem. I don't think we would build it all the way over here. Obviously, this would look like a nice spot normally, but like I said, I want to keep that clear. Why don't we do either side of this road as to whatever makes sense? These do take up a fair amount of space. All right, so the first thing I think we're going to want is the ability to make food in a food factory. Now, our food factory should also ballpark. Yeah, just like that. All right, let's. I think that'll be a good spot. Food factory. Yeah, seems to. My guess was pretty good to make that somewhat straight, I guess. All right, and then alcohol is a good export. So we will go with. You know what? Can we do a T on this one? Yeah, that'll be nice. Because then I'm thinking. Let's do a little control, turn, action. Could we get a storage? I can do both with the little road right out the back, right? Yeah, that's kind of goofy, but yeah, we need to keep an eye on what's going on. Are we not? We're not losing people. We're still constructing things. I could see the cement factory over there is working, and our money's going down fast. So, all right. So we're going to need a free excavator to place that. But I think you guys can see where that's going. Let's take a look. Are we? Yeah, we are kind of up on a bit of a ridge there, aren't we? Yeah, there's a hill. Yeah. Okay. Well, you can see where that's going. All right, and then our meat processing takes up some room. I'm wondering if we should even just wait until we're out of the zone, and then we'll do the modded. The zone meaning we know we can survive, and we're going to be allowed to build things that are not vanilla. So food, alcohol, meat. Right, I have these little big cattle field that's just able to produce cattle from the grass, which real fair in life, actually. You don't need all the other, you don't need crops, which I think is kind of a cool thing. So we're going to hold off and we're going to find a good spot to put some cattle field. It doesn't even need to be near this, right? We can maybe make it later, and that gives us a nice start to a farming situation here, I think. There we go. So what are we doing? Yeah, see, this is where this technical university is going to start really eating into our time and our people. Yeah, we're on the next phase, so that's going to be the expensive part. But again, we have to have it. If we're going to survive, we just have to have this overly expensive technical university going. Good. I see we're making progress on our cinema. How was that? Yeah, well, we got the first part done. So this is where we start getting so spread out with our people, like no workers on our hospital. Is that a bigger priority than this? Not sure how exactly they prioritize things, but another thing we can do here. Let's go ahead and get this. Yeah, because you'll go this way eventually. Let's just keep with that theme, make it look. This is a pretty normal theme of mine that I seem to come up with. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but if you make these buildings even, you get this kind of S-turn kind of thing on the walking paths. And I'm not sure it's better to go. I've done the straight out from everyone. It just feels like there's a lot of connections. It makes it like a much more complicated looking thing. Now, let's take a look at... Yeah, we're really at the next phases of all these constructions, so our problem now is going to be having enough open haulers. Those guys are going to be busy as heck, but that means, see, our whole road construction crew is just sitting there, you know, the dump trucks and that guy are just sitting there doing nothing. So let's send them out all the way up here. I know it doesn't seem like that should be a priority, but we can get them working on that one. That's not the biggest project, is it? 55. So all 3 trucks should head out there because they hold 25. So it's going to take 3 of the trucks to get. Let's just confirm that. No sense in sending another construction project until you... Yeah, see that? So then they'll get this guy out there. Now, I did take off the delivery with mechanisms only because I didn't want... It was causing these guys just to sit there. Sometimes it's more efficient. Like in this case, you know, that guy's going to have to drive out an awful long way in order to get there. So that's sort of a problem. Now, I could start doing like this. It's not a very popular road. That would speed things up a little bit, potentially. We'll see. We've got plenty of time to gravel the roads. And some of the graveling of the roads is better done when you actually have a quarry. Save yourself some money. But I do want to get this going so we can get, once we are able to export something, we're able to export it quickly, I hope. Okay, well, I think that was pretty much what I wanted to do for this episode. We've gotten quite a few things done. If you're not familiar with my episodes, I do tend to do these things and then, you know, pause the recording and then just sit here and watch them and enjoy myself as I watch my little ants go about building their ant maze. It's fun. I enjoy it. So what I'm going to do is call this a video here. We've got our farm design, right? We've got our future plan for getting out here. We've got all these roads to build. We've still got to get our people happy. So before we actually wrap up, I think we'll be fine on the construction for a few minutes. I'll close that. Let's just take a look at how we're doing on some of the individual houses and what they're complaining about. So no culture, you know, spirituality. There's nothing I can do about that. Very, you know, low unemployment. So some people have said, well, you're going to get more unemployment if you assign these houses. Yeah, I mean, I got 1%, so I'm okay with that, right? And then again, this is keeping all of my educated where they're focused because they're going to start dying off before we probably complete that university. So I need to be careful. Though at the same time, if we don't get more people in these houses, that's going to be an issue as well, right? So anyway, we'll see. Pub or tavern, they're never going to get that. And yeah, this is the old... The reason that we're getting people can't see sport is because you get no staff. Now, there's probably someone who's assigned to walk over there. There we go, right? So you get this like 50% of the time there's no sports, which means you really want to get another sports thing built, you know, before too long. But the good news is we should be, if we look at our population, our sports shouldn't be going down, I wouldn't think. Yes, it is going up. It's just not... Because that's closed half the time, it's just not friendly. So once we get the, I'd like to look for something that needs like 2 or 3 staff, like the same exact thing, but it needs 2 or 3 staff, just so that we don't have that particular game mechanic working against us. Good, we got our little footpath. We're all ready to go with our university. Let's go back to it. Oh, so that looks pretty good with our people. Now, how is our stats looking as far as the growth? We'll do all time, since, again, it's not very long. Yeah, well, we're stagnating, which I expect because it takes a while to get this happiness up. But they're starting to get, their clothing quality starts low, and now it's up to 90%. More of them are starting to get a radio. You know, the religious sympathy and alcohol we ignore. The government loyalty, 41%. You know, we'll see. Hopefully we've arrested that going any further down. Sports and entertainment, 64%. That's going up, right? And then we'll just get this cultural enjoyment. That should give them a little more happiness. And you can see it has been going up if you can read that chart. They're more satisfied with whatever. That's, I think, the food and clothes and the radio and all that stuff. Health is holding in there, but again, we're working on the hospital for them. Loyalty. Let's just take a look at our budget, even though I don't really want to look at our budget. But hopefully, when we look at our population, we are growing. We do seem to have a few more babies. How did our overall... Yeah, overall, we've had 17 births and 15 people dying or escaping. So we still have a few people escaping. Now, is that something? Yeah, it did happen fairly recently. Well, we're going to need to get them heat, because when this temperature drops down, they can say the building's too low, but individuals can just not be able to get things. But fortunately, yeah, well, there goes an issue, right? We're working on the hospital as fast as we can, and that's one of the reasons we are. So there you go. I'm going to play forward time. Not sure exactly how long, but just until we get a little bit of stuff built. Certainly once we get some semblance of, you know, one of these buildings done. Some semblance of people becoming even happier. How's that sound? All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.